This is the story of Jean Piaget. While formally trained as a biologist, Piaget was fascinated with the nature of how knowledge develops over time. In the early 1920s, he commenced with his observations of children in their everyday environment. It was during this time that Piaget developed his theory of cognitive development, our topic for this under-budget feature film.
Can you please stop talking? I'm trying to work.
We will start with the fundamentals of Piaget's theory, which is as follows. 1. Children are active and motivated learners, meaning they have innate curiosity in the world and the environment. 2. Children adapt to their environment through the process of assimilation and accommodation, which we will explain later. 3. Interaction with physical environment as well as other people is equally critical to a child's development. 4. Children organize their experiences to gain greater grasp of the world that surrounds them. 5. The development process of equilibrium promotes increasingly complex forms of thought and cognitive abilities. And 6. Children think in qualitatively distinct ways at different stages of development.
Can we stop playing around on the floor now?
No. Piaget's theory revolves around 4 distinctly different phases of human development. The first being the sensory motor stage, which begins at birth and lasts until the age of 2, and is currently demonstrated to us by Emily. It is at this point in a child's development when goal-oriented behavior begins to develop, this being the behavior that brings about a desired result from actions. Of course, the goals of these actions are most of the time equally as stupid as the children themselves. The next stage of a child's development would be the pre-operational stage, which lasts from the age of 2 to about 6 or 7 years of age. It is during this time that language skills undergo rapid expansion of vocabulary, as well as increasingly complex grammatical structures. Playtime also takes on a whole new dimension of role-playing scenarios, in which action can either be true to life or outrageously fictional, as the child may like.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis noble in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of trouble, and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep, no more, and by...
Concrete operations first appear in children around the ages of 6 and 7, and last up until 11 or even 12 years of age. In this stage, the egocentrism of children begins to diminish, in that they begin to understand that their own view of the world may not be everyone else's. That means not everyone gives a damn about your dead bunny. At this age, children become increasingly able to categorize objects as belonging to 2 or more categories at the same time, or class inclusion appears. Not to mention the ability to view things in a more conservationist manner. Meaning, the amount of an object stays the same even when it's set into different sized containers to take on a new shape, as Megan here learned when little bunny Foo-Foo was considerably smaller as it had been hit by a car earlier that day. Finally, children reach the age of formal operations, which allows for reasoning of abstract, hypothetical, and quite possibly impossible ideas, which furthermore allows for the manipulation of variables to achieve an expected outcome, as well as the emergence of idealism. This typically emerges around the ages of 11 to 12 and lasts till, well, I guess death. It's a little depressing, isn't it? Now, I'm sure you'd like to hear some stuff about all these developmental changes that John knows so much about.
Okay.
Now, children are naturally curious little things that use their world to actively seek out information that could help them interpret and understand the world around them. For instance, children growing old, they will naturally experiment with objects to figure out effects on them or how they might be used. This may start with something simple like a baseball bouncing, but as they grow older, more and more abstract objects seem to interest them. Sex, drugs, rock and roll. We can witness this learning process firsthand if we observe Megan.
Ouch!
You're a child. Now, another very useful tool that helps with development are the processes of assimilation and accommodation. Assimilation begins the process by which a child responds to a new event in a way that is consistent with an existing scheme or similar group of actions or thoughts that are used repeatedly in their response to their environment. Observe.
I'm Aquaman.
Now, there is also accommodation, where a child responds to a new event by either modifying an existing scheme or forming a new one completely. Piaget stated that learning is a very constructivist process, meaning children create rather than simply absorb their knowledge of the world around them. For information and tips to help facilitate this growth, stay tuned after intermission. Provide opportunities for children to experiment with physical objects.
These things make noise!
2. Explore children's reasonings with problem-solving tasks and probing questions.
Megan, please sort the cups. Now, why did you sort them this way? Well, what do you do to make this decision? I'm not sure. I just thought. Why didn't you sort it by size? Why didn't you sort it by how much water they hold? Because there's no water. Why did you do it this way? It's the first time. How did you do it this way? I don't know. Why did you do it this way? I'm not sure. Be different.
3. Plan group activities in which children share their opposing views with one another.
Well, to answer your question, I believe that Hitler is evil. Both! Hitler was evil.